how about like this 180 that Lurie, Jenkins, and who else? Oh, and Weiner. Like Weiner didn't really do a 180, but Jenkins and Lurie going out and saying they don't want Trump to come in, and then you have Richie Greenberg over there at California GOP, and he's begging for them to come in. But these guys were kind of aligned just a couple of months ago. I mean, how do you feel about that 180 that they did?
Yeah, they're doing a split. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've been very critical of the mayor and other officials that have just been totally silent around Trump and authoritarianism and fascism in this country. And so, the Chronicle tried to give the mayor lots of credit and be like, this is a big strategic move. The mayor's like playing this chess game. I mean, that's such a stretch. It's and it's done nothing, right? To the extent it's a strategy, it's a bad one because it's not like they're going to leave San Francisco alone. But look, I'm glad that they finally broke their silence a little bit, right? I think it was good. I've been a big critic of the DA, critic of the mayor, but I also, recognize that it's a positive step that they said something. But it's pretty weak what they said, and they're still, it's not like they're doing what like Brandon Johnson in Chicago is doing, which is like calling out the administration, calling this what it is. Instead, they're basically saying like, don't send your troops in. We're doing all this stuff to control crime, right? They're not saying you're lying about San Francisco. They're not saying that a military invasion of a city is like unconscionable, illegal. If you do it, we will sue you. We will direct our police officers to confront your military. Like they're not doing any of those kind of things. They're not even saying we'll protect protesters, encouraging people to protest. Like there are 100 things they could be doing to actually stand up to this administration. So they're not doing that.
It's all formative. It's all performative.
Yeah, I mean, better than nothing. Look, I mean, at this point, there hasn't even been the performative stuff, right? So I'll take it. Like, I'm glad to see Jenkins in response to Mark Benioff being like, no, actually shouldn't send troops to San Francisco, right? It's just so absurd, right? So it's ludicrous that it takes so much for them to make that really, really basic statement. But at least they've done that. But it's like, what's next, right? I mean, what are they going to do when there actually are troops deployed to San Francisco, when ICE ramps up its kidnappings of people? Like what are the elected officials going to do when they ramp up their abuse of protesters, right? Because so far they've absolutely failed on that front. And just one example of like the difference, right, is I know I think you've talked about in previous shows around what happened to when the ICE agents like drove the car into protesters. Down at people were protesting. So they literally on film drove a vehicle into peaceful protesters, right? Not a word from the mayor, not a word from the district attorney. And the only thing the police department said when Mission Local asked them about it was that San Francisco Police Department would protect ICE agents. Right. So you compare that to like go halfway across the country, right, to Broadview, Illinois, near Chicago. Right there. Similar thing happened. You know what the mayor did? I mean, there was a press conference, right? The mayor and mayors from other cities and the police department announcing 3 criminal investigations of ICE agents, 2 of them for using a vehicle to ram into peaceful protesters, right? So they're being criminally investigated there, with the mayor and police department being like, no, you're not going to do this to people right in our community. So they're not perfect over there, but it just shows you like here, complete silence, don't even acknowledge the incident. There you actually have a prosecution likely to happen of those agents. So we got to do more of that here, right? We got to actually have our leaders not just issuing a tweet or a sentence saying crime's under control, but actually taking on this administration.
Yeah, because especially, I mean, but it also, that would be surprising. That would not be like them. Like Jenkins famously, when she came into office, replacing Boudin, basically all the cases against bad cops who had killed people, shot people, she shoved them all under the rug, just passed them on. So it's like, even if she would make that effort to do something, would we see anything? I doubt it. I have no belief in her.
Well, and she's prosecuting,
protesters.
in protesters, right? The Golden Gate 26. I mean, she is a year later, right? Over a year. It's like a year and a half later. These people, their lives are still upside down, right? It takes a toll on them, right? They're being prosecuted for a protest act of civil disobedience, against the genocide in Gaza, right? And so there she's like all action, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she's charging them not just with misdemeanors and stuff, she's charging them with felonies, and she's bringing a like unprecedented claim for restitution, $160,000 or more than that, 160 something thousand dollars in restitution to the Golden Gate Bridge Authority for like lost revenue. I mean, they never do this. The bridges have been shut down. Like they never prosecute protesters for that, right? So her office is like doing this unprecedented level of crackdown on protesters, and then not doing anything when ICE agents ram a car into a protester, right? It's just it's completely outrageous. But I agree, Kevin, it's probably not the most surprising, given how her office has been so far.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, dang it. And these are why we support government. We need our protectors, our guardians, and we're not going to see that. Especially, and I would not be surprised to see more ICE violence against innocent people. Like there's just that footage out of LA where the guy is following ICE, and then one of the ICE cars comes and crashes into it. I mean, that's retribution, and that's something to be really worried about. But
I would say a lot of these, politicians are careerists, and if there's enough pressure, some of them will speak out. That's what we're seeing now, right? I mean, Lurie's been criticized quite a bit for his silence, and so, and Jenkins as well. And so seeing the Benioff encouraging Trump, and then Trump naming San Francisco. I mean, I think they realize that they've been able to kind of stick their head in the sand on this one, and people have been critical of them, especially the mayor, for not speaking up. And so I think you're seeing some crack in that. And I do think if people are, demanding of it enough, they're going to have to do something. Now, maybe more performative stuff. Are they really going to get in the way of federal assault on San Francisco or not? We'll see. But I do think the pressure has some impact on whether they feel like they have to say something.
Well, I mean, how much of it do you think is actually like this long-going compromise that we've made with the right-leaning forces of San Francisco? I mean, like as far as we know that some forces, like we know some voices in tech, some money in tech, they've been trying to push San Francisco right for a long time. And so now that these people are having to really confront the fact that this is what they were inviting through this kind of like ideological shift that they were doing. How much do you think is actually just this thing about like kind of like political compromise? Like they don't want to step on the wrong toes on the right, but they don't have any problem doing the same things that people on the left. Like so, how would they balance that? How do you think they would balance that?
Yeah, I think it's a really good point, and it's not like there's a pure sort of Democrat Republican split on these issues, and that Trump represents one side and local corporate Dems or conservative Dems represent another side. Like on some issues, they're totally aligned, right? Like I don't know. I think half our elected officials, if they could be guaranteed that Trump's National Guard came in and all they did was arrest a bunch of people who were addicted to drugs or who were homeless, and then they got the hell and declared victory and left, I think half our elected officials in San Francisco would be thrilled, right? Like so I mean, the Trump executive order on homelessness and mental illness and behavioral health could have been written by Mayor Lurie and half the board of supervisors, right? It's and Gavin Newsom. I mean, it's the same thing, right? And so I think some of the things that we all might find really objectionable with a militarized intervention, I think the folks in power in San Francisco have been laying the groundwork for that for years. right? Normalize. I mean, look, you have like in 2023, Matt Dorsey tweeted, "The cavalry is coming," when Gavin Newsom sent the National Guard into San Francisco.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, but now he's tweeting about how terrible it would be for Trump to send the National Guard to San Francisco. Right. So there is this, this groundwork of like all that what London Breed, the conservative members, more conservative, they call themselves moderate members of the board, and other leaders have been the drum they've been beating for years, right? With full tech billionaire support of like San Francisco is this dystopian hellhole, and we just got to come in and clean up the streets, and we've been too compassionate for too long. We got to get all that stuff. Certainly, it's like lays the groundwork for people to actually believe these attacks on San Francisco, right? And think that, oh, what we need is a more militaristic response to it. So I think I don't know if there's, actual agreements and conversations. I have no idea. I have no idea if Mayor Lurie's team is, since Trump got elected, has talked to Trump's team or not, whether there are any agreements or not. Like I don't want to suggest that there is. There may be zero communication, but they're playing in some ways from a similar playbook on certain issues, especially homelessness, hyping up crime. I mean, Lurie ran for office. Public safety was his biggest thing. It was all about crime, crime, crime at a time when we had historically low crime rates.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Sound familiar?
Yeah.
So it's not like you can all of a sudden try to say, oh no, everything's under control, but you don't have a lot of credibility when you've been saying that for years. I think people do better to listen, to elected leaders like Shimon Walton and Jackie Fielder and others who have been talking truthfully about these issues for years.